Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a Q&A, question and answer, based off all the questions I've been asked over on Instagram. As you can see, I have upgraded the recording space, so it's a little bit less boring. You can't see though my fairy lights, oh, the camera doesn't like that. Okay, so let's get straight into this. There are a few questions I was asked that I'm not going to be answering, so I'm sorry if you asked me a question I'm not answering it today. Don't take it personally. I'm out of breath from doing that running jump onto the bed. I think the lighting is better in this space than that space, which is I've literally just flipped my laptop around, but yeah, I think it's making a difference. The camera quality looks slightly better as well, and I am working on getting an upgrade. Okay, yeah, so I'm working on getting upgraded equipment because the mic will probably do for now, but the camera quality is pretty bad and it is something I want to improve. Alongside that, I have a space in my home which I could probably make into a recording space, but I don't want to go that far yet because I don't have enough followers. So if you want me to do that, follow please, and like. Okay, so the first question is, how have you increased communication with your headmates? That is a really interesting question. Thank you for your question, whoever asked that. So system communication has been a very long process. It has taken us about 3 years, I think. Maybe just under 3 years. Okay, it's taken us a long time to even get to the point of minimal communication between parts. And I mean, I felt very out of place at the beginning because everyone was talking about hearing their alters and speaking directly to their alters, and I was like, I can't hear a thing. I mean, I think before I was aware, I could hear and speak to alters, but I didn't know I was doing it. And then as soon as I gained awareness, everyone just went silent. Occasionally I hear internal monologues and internal just chatter and noise, but on a day-to-day basis I hear nothing. So to improve that, we started to keep a public journal, not public as in the public, but as in public, where everyone knew where it was, everyone could access this journal, and everyone could write in it, whether that's littles, persecutors, protectors, etc, etc. It was for anyone and everyone, so there was various little doodles from little alters and, you know, just random stuff, but that doesn't matter. Whatever communication my alters have given me, I have cherished because it's important, and you know, I'm proud of them for communicating with me. So yeah, communal journals and communal spaces just to share appointments and things like that, you know, that has been helpful. Mostly written communication has helped, but also what I've found we have done is, I just need to reference the question. Yes, okay, I thought I was answering the question completely wrong, but yes, what we have done to help increase communication has been, and it might sound weird, but just providing space for everyone in the system, so everyone knows that they are important, and that has naturally increased communication. And so I go from radio silence to the occasional rude comment or advice on something I'm doing. For example, if I'm trying to complete a task but I'm not the alter who holds the skill set for that task, another alter might chime in and be like, hey, this is how you do it, or you're an idiot, how could you not know how to do that? But those pieces of communication are really important to me, and I think it is great. So yeah, to improve communication, we have just paid more attention to each other, given space to everyone in the system, and honoured everyone in the system. And obviously written communication is great because it's low commitment. Anyone can pick it up whenever they want, wherever they want, etc, etc. So let's move on to the next question. Oh, I would also like to say you are joined by Jason today. Yeah, whoever bought this, I'm really disappointed. Wait, Oh, I can't understand where the camera is. My brain just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because I see myself on the screen, like where my hand is where my face is, but on the camera, it's completely different. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Let's get back into the questions. What are 3 important things you wish you'd learn earlier than you did? Okay, that is an interesting question. My mind's gone blank. Number 1, I would probably say that treatment would be so far away and such a long process because, you know, I think at best anyone with DID or OSDD is going to spend like 5 years in therapy, and that's at best case scenario. It can go on for years or your entire life, and I think from my knowledge there is no cure at the end. There's definitely an end point to therapy with DID and OSDD, but it's different for everyone. But there isn't a cure. It's never going to go away, I guess, because you were never at an original baseline. So I wish I knew that. Alongside that, I wish I knew how much and how important it was to give space to alters, because I don't know, and I'm speaking as but I'm not really the host that did this, but we have kind of a shared communication and so I can speak on behalf of the host who was like this. Like, it felt like, the way to treat DID was to suppress everyone and just try to be singular, but that wasn't the case at all. That was more harm than good, and I think I wish we had known that sooner, because it did a lot of harm. And now that we know what we do about DID, I feel bad. I feel really bad for especially the littles in the system, because they just want to feel safe, they just want to feel good, and same goes for everyone. I wish we had stopped trying to suppress alters from the get-go. And number 3, I wish I would have known how misunderstood DID is, because when I got the diagnosis I didn't realise how hard it would be to explain the condition to people who didn't have it. I didn't realise how weirdly people react to me having it, and I didn't realise how much people would take advantage of that diagnosis, or just generally treat me like some kind of science experiment or social experiment or something. And I wish I'd known that, because I would have been a lot more careful with who I told. But it has empowered me, it has empowered my system to be bold and loud about DID, and I will continue to be loud about my DID until the day I die, because I refuse to let other people control that and let other people suppress alters who very much just want to live. And so I wish I knew those 3 things sooner. Now, how did you find out you're a system? What was the process of acceptance like? So I'm going to answer that in 2 parts, because I get distracted really easily. I found out I was a system. I think I've covered this before. I'm not sure if it was in a video or if it was on Instagram, but I found out because my partner said to me, "I think you have DID," and I was like, no way. There's no way. There's literally no way. I didn't even know what it was, but when I found out, I was like, nah, I would know if I had that. So yeah, someone told me, and from there I started to research it, and I was like I was like, what the heck? This is me. This makes sense. I feel like this, and this explains everything I have ever experienced. So that is how I found out I had DID. Someone told me, and then I was like, yeah. And then loads of other people in my life were like, yeah, that kind of adds up. Makes sense. In fact, people had met my alters before I even knew I had DID. Wild, honestly. And what was the process of acceptance like? the process of acceptance is ongoing. To this day, I haven't quite got there in accepting. There are still aspects of this disorder that I struggle with, and I will always struggle with, because it's a disorder at the end of the day. You know, it is going to be painful to live with, and I guess disabling, and so there are aspects that I don't think I'll ever come to terms with or accept, but a lot of the stuff and a lot of the reason I struggle to accept my condition is because of how other people react to it, not because of how I have to live with it. So yeah, this is why my main goal is to raise awareness and stop people, acting so weird about DoD systems. So I want to raise awareness for this reason, because the majority of the reason I struggle to accept my DoD is other people, not myself or my system. But I would say the process of acceptance has come in many stages. So first of all, it was straight up denial. I was like, no, if I suppress it all, it will just disappear. It didn't. Next stage was, okay, I can't suppress this, it's not disappearing. And I started to focus mostly on the alters aspect of the condition, because that was what felt the most prominent to me at the time, and the most jarring or most difficult to cope with. Then I started to process and accept the trauma that was held. As I gained more communication with alters, I realized just how much had happened, and that was the hardest part to accept, and I am still accepting that. And I mean, it's just, that is definitely the hardest. So that is the bit that I'm stuck on, that and accepting how other people react to the condition. But overall, I love my system and I love the community we have, and I'm going to use this diagnosis to raise awareness and not get me down. So I've accepted it in that sense, but there are parts that I struggle to accept still. The process was long and is still ongoing, as I say. Okay, let's get on to the next question. What advice would you give to newly discovered systems? Okay, this is a really interesting question, and I'm going to give the advice of what I would have wanted to hear when I first found out. So, number one, how you feel right now if you are a newly diagnosed system. This feeling isn't going to be forever. You're not going to feel as scared and confused and distressed as you do now forever, and it will all start to make sense. Everything feels really big and unfathomable right now, but it gets there. It's a slow process, so just take your time. Do not go prodding in trauma that is held by parts who aren't ready to process that trauma, and don't go prodding in trauma or at parts who aren't ready to come forward without a therapist. That is the most important thing, because just finding out you're a system can be very destabilizing. To then start delving into trauma, speaking from experience, can be very, very destabilizing. But you are not alone. There is a huge community of people with DID, and we're here with open arms. So if you need support, join the community. You will find people. Yes, and be careful who you tell in real life, because unfortunately and very sadly, people will use it to their advantage. They can exploit you, but just take your time, be kind to yourself, and remember you're not alone. It will get better. Oh, and system communication at first is going to be really difficult for a lot of people, so communal journals. Just have a journal that is specific for communicating between alters, and leave it in a visible place. You'll probably find that your alters will go up to it and write in it. Alongside that, listening to alters, providing space for them. Don't try to suppress them. Okay, the next question is, do you have a non-binary alter? Yes, I do. I have various non-binary alters, or alters that do not fit in the male or female genders. So yes, I have various, and I would say out of around 60 alters, probably 10 to 15 are non-binary. Maybe less, I'm unsure. But yeah, we definitely do have non-binary alters. What's the most weird alter? This is a weird question, but I will answer it. I wouldn't describe any of my alters as being weird unless it's in a joking context. I think other system members would probably jokingly call me the weirdest alter, as in me, Jason. Yeah, I got distracted. But in the hopes that you've just worded this a little bit differently, I would say my most obscure, or what's the word? The most hard to grasp or understand alter was the non-human alter that we have, because, you know, I didn't know it was a thing that could happen for the longest time, and so when a non-human alter came forward, I was like, oh, okay, yes, okay, sure, hello. But that was probably, yeah, the most interesting or obscure or different alters to come to terms with, but we love them and they are a contributing member. Okay, how many alters do you have? Around 60, but we are a polyfragmented system, so that means we have fragments too, which are hard to explain. So those are like parts who front for very, in my experience at least, this isn't a definition, but my fragments front for very hyper-specific events. So we have a fragment who is unnamed, no age, nothing identifiable, but we can tell they're a different alter because they front for every single medical appointment I have ever been to. Yeah, so we have, there could be fragments who, for example, literally come out just to brush your teeth or eat, you know, so there's a lot of those, but counting identifiable alters, around 60. What's your job? I do not have a job. I am unemployed because I am disabled and I cannot work at the moment with the combination of mental health conditions and disabilities. I have previously been employed when I was about 16 and it didn't work out. It did not work out, and honestly the reaction that my body and mind had to working were so intense that I have been scared off ever since. But even if I wanted a job, no jobs will accept me. I have made thousands of applications, but I'm hoping I can get somewhere with YouTube and social media so that I do not have to rely on systems that do not provide for people like me. Next question. Do you have education? Like, do you have any degree? College? High school? Yes. Yes, I do. I got GCSE equivalents to passes in maths, English and science, and I think maybe history and art. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. And I went to study at college, but I got about halfway through a health and social care course and I was put on not fit to study leave because of my mental health, and they would not accept me back because they were not convinced that it was going to improve, and they said it was a risk. So yeah, I haven't been back since I was maybe 17. I would love to go to uni though. I would love to study at uni and do a psychology course, but right now I don't think education is my main priority. Thank you for your question. Okay, let's get on to the next question. Were there any signs of you guys being a system before you found out? Oh my gosh, were there signs? There were so many signs. I've not got long enough to talk. Okay, so there was very, very obvious identity alteration and memory loss, and dissociation from even around age 12. I think my earliest memory of having like intense amnesic blackouts and, you know, literally having no memory of things that had happened or things I'd done, and waking up in places, not knowing how I'd gotten there, you know, that started young. That started at like 12, and it just progressed as I got older, to the point that it was so obvious that other people around me were finally pointing things out. So yeah, there were so many signs. I could probably go into it in more detail in another video. But yeah, there were many signs, including dissociation, identity alteration, all sorts. Okay. How did you start to establish communication between alters when you were diagnosed? Okay, so I have kind of already answered this question, but I'll go over it again. We just used to communicate through the kind of the texting channel on Simply Plural, but it's since been closed down. So yeah, we used to communicate through there, and that was quite accessible actually. And then we have like a communal notes on my phone, and we communicated through there. We also communicated through my partner. So if an alter wanted to tell me something, they would tell my partner, and my partner would tell me. It was like like a messenger whole thing. But yeah, so we mostly started with that, and then shifted to communicating through emotional expression, if that makes sense. Okay, someone has asked, system destabilization. We've been hearing the term lately but don't know what it means. Okay, I could do more detail on this, but for the sake of this video, I will give you a brief understanding. Think of clinical destabilization in a singular person, apply that to an entire system, and you have utter chaos and mayhem, and it is very hard to reach a point of feeling safe and feeling stable again. So, you know, it is just essentially the entire system is becoming incapable or struggling to maintain, you know, daily functioning. And that is a very shortened version of it, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're coming to the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you prefer this setup or not. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment any questions or suggestions for future videos. Thank you for watching. Bye.